Hey, everybody, I'm Candid Frank. He's Aaron William, Freeland. And I got to tell you, what a great weekend of sports we got looking forward to. I got to tell you, we're going to talk about the Blue Jays, but I just want to say they've been a lot of fun to watch.
They definitely have. They've won several series in a row now. They've won something like 8 of their last 9 games or something redonkulous like that. They've been putting on a really good show. I think they're doing what most Toronto teams do at this point of the season, and that's sell their fans hope, especially for the playoffs.
Well, they've had a wee bit more success than the other Toronto franchise.
Fair, especially recently.
They've had more success, and the genius or luck, whichever, making the moves they made at the deadline. It's amazing trading for tomorrow. Selling, being sellers and buyers, and they were both. And it's funny, but the chemistry that this team has now, prior to the trade deadline, is totally different. I'm gonna turn off this phone.
200 meters, turn right
because it's telling me how to go somewhere, but I got nothing to. Where's the power button? There it is. There. My goodness. There. Turn the phone off. It's still trying to tell me how to get home, but there's nothing on the screen that says. Anyway, it's hanging out somewhere in the dark web. Okay, so yeah, let's start with the Leafs, and you've got Tavares fighting for some money with the CRA.
Yeah, so when he was initially brought in, there was a bit of a bonus that was paid to him, specifically a $15.25 million U.S. signing bonus paid while he was still a U.S. resident. Now, Tavares and his legal team are arguing that the payment qualifies as an inducement under the Canadian and U.S. tax treaty and was properly taxed at the preferential 15% rate. I'm assuming because he submitted an NR 301 as well as an NR 73 in order to ensure that his reduced tax status was up to date. However, the CRA reassessed his 2018 filing in 2022, characterizing the money as employment income and thus fully taxable at Canadian tax rates, and seeking $6.85 million in taxes plus $1.2 million in interest, totaling nearly $8.05 million. Now, Bill Daly has been following the matter. Well, not Bill Daly himself, but Bill Daly has confirmed that the NHL is tracking the matter because they have to be cognizant of all issues that impact players to that extent. Now, obviously, the NHL has their own issues with Revenue Canada on some of their interpretations of the tax laws with their American clubs, so it's obviously something they're interested in and following. Patrick Marleau is simultaneously fighting his own similar CRA reassessment tied to bonuses structured into his 3-year deal with Toronto in 2017. So it's one of those situations where, nobody's going to be happy at the end of the day because somebody's not getting their money. Realistically speaking, if it is technically considered income as opposed to an inducement, and NHL teams have been known to front load contracts by paying bonuses at the start of each year, thus reducing the actual monies that the team has to pay out over the course of the regular season, even though their cap hit remains the same. So this is one of those things where the CRA is saying, well, we know how you guys work. This is our interpretation of what y'all did. And the NHL is like, nah, it's completely legitimate and above board.
So what we have here is, that whack-a-mole thing. That, but more or less, it's the shell game, right?
Yeah.
I put the money here, and nobody has to know it's here. Somebody finds out it's here, and that somebody says, I deserve a cut of that, right? And then no, that's under this shell here. It's not something that you get money for. It's money's a shell game, and it's basically an argument over what that money is. And the same thing happened in the U.S. election, which is interesting, and that is no taxes on tips. So in essence, you could say a company could purchase something and then say, well, $2 million of it was a tip. So there's no tax on it, right? So, um, yeah, there's constantly looking. Those that have money and those that have lots of money can afford lawyers that can help them not pay taxes. Where do we stand in this, Aaron? We're just standing on the sidelines going, I wish I had 8 million that I could ask to have back. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if I made enough money that Canada Revenue wanted $8 million of it.
so I wouldn't mind a piece of that action, to be honest with you. Leafs reportedly interested in a Rangers forward. Which one and why?
So, according to Kyle Andrew, who's a host of the Toronto Sports Rush podcast, the Maple Leafs could actually be looking to acquire Taylor Radish. So there's a rumor going around right now that they could be eyeing him from the New York Rangers. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, Darren Radish is Taylor's brother. So they're looking to bring the brothers back together here. Now, Taylor has actually signed a 2-year, $3 million contract. He played in 68 games for the Rangers during the 25-26 season, had 9 goals, 10 assists, and 19 points. We're averaging 11 minutes and 51 seconds in a bottom 6 role. As you know, Darren signed an 8-year, $68 million contract at the Maple Leafs after a breakout season, in which he had 22 goals, 48 assists, and 70 points. I find it interesting that this is very similar to the Morgan Riley situation, because he had a breakout season where he had 72 points, and the Leafs immediately locked him up to a long-term deal for a lot of money that doesn't appear to have panned out yet. But yeah, there's the thinking that bringing the brothers together could potentially help. I'm curious as to see if the Leafs are pursuing it in the same way that they were doing it when they brought in William Nylander's brother Alex to play with the Marlies.
That was
to
a
bring
bit
the family
different.
together.
Right? That was a bit different. That was a guy that wasn't honestly of NHL value. So all that happened is that the Leafs got a minor leaguer, but that minor leaguer lives in his brother's house.
Exactly.
Together, right? So
it's a great way for them to sort of keep each other level.
Yeah, and I mean, his brother gets to live at a better lifestyle. With I assume they live pretty good, knowing the contract that Nylander signed. So good for them. Why Sissons chose the Leafs? You have that?
It's one of those interesting things where he said when they interviewed him, he said, it was tough to pass off the opportunity to join a Maple Leafs and the fact that they're overhauling their roster, because that makes it a challenge. So he signed a deal with the Leafs for $4.25 million per. He's the sort of person that you would have figured what other teams would have had an interest in. He's 32 years old. He's played 756 regular season games in his 12-year NHL career. He's got 2 Stanley Cup final appearances, and he's a specialist in the faceoff dot and on the penalty kill. At the end of the day, he decided to take his talents to Canada and to Toronto, which represents a homecoming of sorts, because at least he's playing in the country of his birth. Because he was born in Vancouver, just on the wrong side of the country, at least according to some. But yeah, when they asked him about it, he said, it was really an opportunity to see what I could do and take a look at some of the challenges that were ahead, and he's chosen to embrace that. So he's very happy with his decision.
Let's talk Canadian tennis, and let's start with Shapovalov.
So I don't know if you recall an experiment. But a few years back, they were trying something called the World Team Tennis. Now, yeah, Denis Shapovalov was named to the Toronto North Racket Club on Thursday as the Mixed Gender Professional Tennis League outlined 3 of its teams and their star players when it restarts this December. Jessica Pegula will represent the New York Empire, and Tommy Paul will be a member of the Florida Flamingos. The goal apparently has been always to modernize WTT's incredible legacy and reshape their brands to create something as cool as it was back in the day. Obviously, tennis's popularity starts with the best players in the world, but has always extended well beyond the court into lifestyle and culture. Shapovalov, with the club that he's been named to, has a personal connection there. Pegula was obviously easily enough to select in Buffalo because her parents own the Buffalo Bills and NHL Sabres. And as for the other guy, Paul, he lives in Boca Raton, Florida, so that was simple enough. Now, the WT was actually originally founded by Billie Jean King back in 1974, right. For those who don't know.
Elton John wrote and it was originally and their team.
Yeah, it was originally around from 1974 to 78. The second version ran from 1991 to about 2021 when play was suspended because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and then it just sort of fell off from there. But they're trying to revive it, so it should be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, he wrote a song called "The Philadelphia Freedoms," which they used as their theme song.
Nice.
In that tennis group. All right, let's talk about Magloire, a Canadian. Actually, went to the same high school I went to. Great player. Tell us about what's on his agenda.
So, the Canadian Basketball's Hall of Fame class of 2026 is Jamal Magloire, former Carleton Ravens men's head coach Dave Smart, Olympic flag bearer Miranda Ayem, as well as several others. Magloire played 12 seasons in the NBA and was the first Canadian to suit up for the Toronto Raptors when he joined this team back in 2011. He was an all-star in 2004 with the Memphis Grizzlies. He served as an assistant coach with the Raptors during their championship run in 2018-19 and is currently vice president of the Scarborough Shooting Stars of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Dave Smart transformed Carleton's men's program into a dynasty. The Ravens won 13 U Sports championships under his watch. Ayem was a captain of Canada's senior women's national team and was the country's co-flag bearer along with rugby sevens player Nathan Hirayama at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. There's also Michael Meeks, Anna Stamberger, Dan Meager, and Teresa Kleindienst, as well as Coach Peter Doc Ryan, Janice Deacon, and Dr. Andrew Pipe. Now, those are the 10 members that are going to be enshrined at a ceremony in St. Stephen, New Brunswick later this year. So congratulations to Jamal.
Let's move on to TFC. And TFC tied a game late. They played well.
Yeah, not a lot going on in the middle of the game, unfortunately. But Nicholas Dortch was signed via transfer from Germany's FC Heidenheim. Got a late one to lift TFC into a 3-3 draw against Charlotte on Wednesday, just 4 days after notching a highlight reel game winner in a 2-1 win over New England. He actually fired the ball in from about 25 yards out in the 90th minute, which was all they needed. It's nice to see them getting a win here and there, but unfortunately at 4-7-9, TFC aren't going anywhere fast. But it's one of those things where they can't help themselves but pick up penalties. They did actually get a red card in the 56th minute. Walker Zimmerman drew that one. But the common complaint from some of the players after the game is they seem to be fighting the referees more than they actually do fighting the other team. It's a common complaint this year, unfortunately, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about those Blue Jays. After losing 6 in a row in Tampa, they show up and win 2 of 3.
Yeah, it's been a house of horrors for them, essentially. This is the first time the Jays have actually beaten the Rays since 2023, so it's been a while. Tropicana Field, of course, is not one that teams enjoy going to, mainly because the roof is clear, not very high, and it's very hard for defenders to read the ball. We saw that when Jesus Sanchez dropped one in the 7-6 loss the other night.
You hit the catwalk, and where you hit the catwalk is a foul ball. If you hit it over here, it's a home run. You hit it over there, it's
a ground rule double.
Double.
Yeah.
Is it fair or not? Don't know. Well, let's project if it would have been fair. Yeah, and then that really transparent roof, because that's what it is. It's transparent, and that transparency is basically, if you can imagine, looking into your window with the sun shining into the window and trying to find trying to swat a fly. You won't be able to see it. You won't succeed.
It's like
Um,
looking at the sun through wrinkled saran wrap. It's really it's
Absolutely.
terrible.
And distracting as heck. But the Jays did the best they could, and the best they could was win 2 of 3, score 20 runs in Tampa. This team couldn't put 20 runs together in July.
Yeah, and to come up with the 10 runs in a game the other night and then another 5 here is one of those unheard of sorts of things.
Yeah,
It's
good for them. They're looking good. I
yeah.
like what the organization's done. I like that they made changes on the fly, and they brought true meaning to the hope of many fans of teams that say the word rebuild, and it scares the bejesus out of fans because we're going to play like crap for a couple of years. You don't mind, do you? Of course they do. Of course they do. And so yeah, so they're doing a good job of being competitive. I don't think there's any question. This part of the schedule after they play the Yankees. These 3 games are playing the Yankees today, tomorrow, and the next day, and then that'll conclude all the teams that are in the playoffs that they'll be playing. Now they'll be playing teams beneath them for the rest of the season, teams that aren't in a playoff spot at this point. So, odd speaking, Aaron, they've got a good shot to make the playoffs.
It's entirely possible that they might be able to sneak their way into the second wild card spot. I think what's crazy for me is the Yankees are 72 and 55, and they are in the second or third wild card spot, which
Yeah.
is absolutely ludicrous.
The,
You know,
they're in the
they're
first
behind.
one. They're in the first one. Boston's in the second, and the Jays are fighting to get into the third slot.
And the thing is, they're in the fourth spot, but their record is better than Chicago and Houston. But the only reason those 2 teams are ranked ahead of them is because of where they're finishing in their division, which to
Absolutely.
me doesn't seem like you're getting the best bang for your buck when it comes to teams in the playoffs. It seems like you're
Well,
trying to appease
that
owners.
your point is very simple. What you're saying is the Eastern Division of Major League Baseball in the American League is a killer division. You know, the Jays were, it wasn't long ago, they were in last place in that division,
But I
and
mean,
they
at
were
least
better than
that
some.
makes sense. You know, I mean, in the National League, you've got the Brewers at 79 and 49, the Dodgers at 77 and 51, and the Braves at 75 and 53. The first wild card is 74 and 54, the Chicago Cubs. At least
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, they've
You
got
know?
more of a separation in the standings than the
Yeah.
East does, right? The East is far more middle heavy middle equal heavy or whatever. In the middle of the best teams, the average teams, there's a lot of them that are in the same place, and you can tell by the battle for the wild card. I mean, there's 6 teams, legitimate 6 teams that could take the third spot. So there's 7 teams fighting for one spot, and they're all like a game and a half separated by like a game and a half or something silly like that. Last time I looked, ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely
amazing.
ridiculous.
All right, so the Jays get best news they could get. Vladdy on the mend as they go to play the Yankees.
Yeah, so Guerrero was actually in Single A Dunedin on Thursday as part of the process of working his way back from the concussion list. He was 1 for 1 with an RBI double and a run scored, as well as 2 walks. So he appears to be able to see the ball. It doesn't seem to be that much of a big deal. I mean, obviously, the hope was Guerrero would make an impact in Single A. After all, a guy making 500 mil should, even if he's returning from injury. So at least there's that to look forward to. The real task really was to get him back into game action and see how he responded after progressing through baseball activities earlier in the week. With an RBI double in his first plate appearance, that obviously indicated, hey, something's going all right here. So Saturday could be the day where we see him back in the lineup. He was unfortunately hitting .263 with 7 home runs and 46 ribbies through 115 games this season. His power production had taken a significant dip in comparison to what the team is used to and had come to expect. So hopefully, when he comes back, he'll be able to see his way through it and perform a little bit better.
Jays have a bullpen day with Fluharty starting for the bullpen pitchers. in the game
Yeah.
against the Yankees tonight.
The good news is Toronto's relievers are well rested for their bullpen day. Only Spencer Miles and Louis Varland pitched in the 5-1 win over the Tampa Bay Rays last night. So this is a chance for the Jays to test their mettle against the New York Yankees, who at 72 and 55 hold the top wild card spot in the American League. Toronto's half a game back. So it's going to be interesting to see, excuse me, if they can pull it off.
You're welcome.
This is Flu Hardy's fourth start this season. He actually has a 3.71 ERA with 56 strikeouts over 51 innings pitched. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Preferred reliever starter.
They're starting reliever.
Just starting reliever, exactly. Let's talk about the Raptors, and we've got that trade still unclear.
Yeah, now, the first major break in the NBA's investigation into the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, in particular, with the dealings of Steve Ballmer, having a tough tongue day today, Frank. It was found that apparently ESPN said that Clippers owner Steve Ballmer was not found to have directly funneled money to Leonard through an endorsement deal with Aspiration. However, that doesn't necessarily mean things have cleared up. ESPN's article reported that Ballmer may have been free from any direct financial wrongdoings, but there's still an unanswered question as to whether or not the Clippers broke any other kind of rules about making an introduction between Clippers and Aspiration, who are a team sponsor as well. ESPN's Baxter Holmes recently spoke about the issues surrounding the trade and the unknown factors that are still holding it up, but said that they do expect to have a little more clarity sometime soon. On the tail of this was apparently a wild rumor that had Steph Curry coming to Toronto as part of a $350 million deal with another team. I don't put much stock in it because Steph Curry is going to be a warrior, a Golden Gate Warrior for life. So it's unlikely that he's going to be coming here, but it's fun to see some of the rumors that are swirling about the Raptors.
Well, he started playing basketball as a young boy on the Raptors practice floor.
Yeah, when his father played for the team.
Yeah. So he knows the community real well. Let's talk about the Canadian Football League and the Owls. They put the boots to the Red Blacks.
That was a curb stomping. Oh my gosh!
I tried watching it. Oh, and it started so well. And soon as the fumble happened, the game went south on the Red Blacks. Once they made one mistake, it was here we go again. It seemed to me mentality.
I'm not sure what was on the ball, but there were a couple plays there where it looked like it just popped out of the quarterback's hand as he was trying to pull it back to throw, and that to me is concerning. I don't think I've ever seen a team start 0-10, and I've been watching the CFL for a while. I don't think I've seen that happen. Do you remember the last time it happened?
2003 or 4, Edmonton.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. That was a nightmare season.
Anyway, yeah. I think it was 2004, but it doesn't matter. You can check. Let's carry on and talk about Williams and how he received a fine and why.
So Deontay Williams has received a maximum fine for delivering a high hit on Dedrick Mills. They ruled it a high hit. Michael Fletcher was also fined for delivering a high hit on Ottawa quarterback Jake Meyer. And Brandon Kemp has been fined for delivering a tourist hit on Edmonton defensive lineman Noah Taylor. So now CFL doesn't announce the amount of the fines or the discipline related to dress code violations.
$5,000 or $10,000. That's it.
Yeah, and for these players, that's a significant chunk
for them. It is
because they don't make as much money as the other pros do. So it's a concern.
They make in the tens of thousands. Let's talk about Max Verstappen. Interesting in F1.
Yeah, very interesting things, actually. Max Verstappen has extended his contract with Red Bull to 2030. There was talk earlier in this year of him quitting F1 because he didn't like the regulations and because he felt it was too video gamey. with the power release and the push to pass and all of that sort of fun stuff. He had been linked with a move to McLaren after reports of a meeting in June between his representatives and McLaren management, including Zach Brown. Also, rumor of him going to Mercedes, which has been persistent for a while now. But as it turns out, yeah, he's still going to be one of the highest paid guys on the grid, and he's going to be under contract until 2030, which could cover a potential but not confirmed return to simpler V8 powered engines as opposed to the 50-50 hybrid split they have now. Now, other interesting news that's going on with Red Bull, Isak Hadjar in their recent summer break injured his wrist. So he's out for this race at the Dutch Grand Prix, which gives Liam Lawson a chance to step back in again. It also means former Red Bull driver Yuki Tsunoda will be stepping into Liam Lawson's seat in Racing Bulls. I just think it's interesting that the last time Liam Lawson got to race for Red Bull was when Danny Ricciardo broke his pinky in his right hand a couple years back at the same race. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens here. And in that situation as well, Yuki Tsunoda replaced Liam Lawson at Racing Bulls. So it's going full circle.
So, Aaron, there's other injuries. Hadjar is injured in F1.
Yep. Yeah, he, as I just mentioned, he did break his wrist in a training accident over the 3-week break that they had, their miniature summer break. So Tsunoda is going to be stepping in for Lawson, who has been elevated to the head team again.
Talk to me about Cadillac in F1.
So there was a recent shakeup at Cadillac. They fired their team principal and brought in a new person to head it up. It's majority owned by TWG, or the Walter Group. Sorry. For those of you who aren't familiar, Mark Walter owns the LA Dodgers, owns the LA Lakers. Also owns the Cadillac F1 team, as well as a chunk of the PWHL and the Premier League club Chelsea. Walter recently sold his stake in the Los Angeles Lakers to former Disney CEO Bob Iger and Jordan Kushner, the brother of Jared Kushner, who's married to Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka. Now, this all comes on the heels of Mark Walter divesting himself of shares in Geo Group, who used to run ICE prison facilities, as well as denying ICE the opportunity to stage on Los Angeles Dodgers property during the recent immigration crackdown. So, as a result of that, the DOJ has been investigating Mark Walter quite intensely, which could explain his sale of part of the LA Lakers. But, his desire to sell off, or his stated public rumors, to sell off parts of Premier League club Chelsea, as well as potentially parts of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and even his Cadillac F1 team have all been categorically denied. But we'll have to see how this goes.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the Marlies.
So, they've got a brand new season coming up. Home opener is going to be on October 3rd. They'll be raising the banner against the Hamilton Hammers. Those are the Bridgeport Tigers that have moved recently. That's the Islanders farm team. They put together a really good run. It's a tough road back. Steve Sullivan has a really tough task ahead of him. After going 36-26, 5-5, 4th in the North, 7th in the Eastern, and 15th in the AHL, they're going to have to try to get back to that. In addition, stories going around today indicate that their play-by-play guy, Todd Crocker, will be going up and joining the Maple Leafs. So congratulations to Todd on that. It sounds like a great step forward. We're looking to see how this goes. Aksiomov is going to be back. Luke Hames, who was a very pleasant surprise during their recent Calder Cup run, is potentially back as well. There's a close to 0% chance that Gavin McKenna is a Marley. Likewise, Easton Cowan won't be in the AHL either, especially after a playoff run where he had 8 goals and 10 assists. That said, the Marlies still have multiple prospects to watch. Ben Danford is a 20-year-old who's showing flashes of offensive brilliance and will likely get more time on the power play. Noah Chadwick is a bigger defenseman who at 21 is already making significant strides as a shutdown option. So we'll have to see how the team progresses from here, but it's certainly going to be an interesting season.
How about those Habs? How are they doing?
They're doing all right. I don't know if you recall this guy named Montembeau
Yes.
had a bit of a rough season. He had an 873 save percentage and a 343 goals against average. He actually
was an
got dropped.
option for Team Canada.
He was. He was also starting goalie for the Habs and got demoted to their third string spot by and was actually down in the AHL in December as well. But after a season to forget, I think he's actually well suited to have a bit of a bounce back season. Just a couple of years ago in 24-25, he actually had a 31-24-7 record and a 901 save percentage with a 282 goals against. So he's also had save percentages of 901 or better in each of his 3 seasons before last year's absolute disaster. So he's got extra motivation to get things back on track. He's entering a contract year, and it's a pending UFA. Typically, players, especially goalies, have strong years during contract years. So it'll be interesting to see if Montembeau can do just that from where he is.
Yeah, very good for him. Let's talk about the Sens, and Batherson's looking for an 8-year.
Yeah, he's got a very limited time left to do it. There's under a month to get himself an 8-year contract. As at the middle of September, you're not going to be able to go and get yourself an 8-year deal anymore. So the window on that is closing. They're not 100% sure exactly what the holdup is, but it'll be interesting to see if he can actually get that out of the team.
Talk to me about the Jets.
Sure. The Jets appear to be losing a little bit of confidence in their management. It's one of those things where they've had a bit of a fall off. They were 12th on the NHL's list, on the Athletics list about teams when it came to confidence in their front office. They won the President's Trophy. They made it into the playoffs at least successfully in the past few years. However, last year, after a run of free agent signings that didn't necessarily pan out, a thin prospect pool, and a season that ended without a playoff berth, they actually fell outside of the top 25 in the NHL to land at 26th overall. Now, there's still plenty of time for that to change as Winnipeg's core remains locked up long term. They've still got Scheifele, Connor, Morrissey, and Connor Hellebuck all under contract for years to come, despite the constant trade speculation surrounding Hellebuck. And I think that actually has been wearing on fan confidence, raising real questions about whether Cheveldayoff can navigate the organization through a rough year and a bit to come and get the Jets back on track as legitimate Stanley Cup contenders.
And is it a problem having a team in Canada? That's the question that keeps coming up everywhere. Whack-a-mole. Let's talk about the Flames and their rebuild.
Yeah, still not convincing everyone that they're going to be able to get it done. Recently Bleacher Report examined all 16 non-playoff teams and assessed whether their offseason moves were worthy of buying or selling. The Flames landed in the sell category, and the outlet wasn't convinced Calgary did enough to take a meaningful step forward in 26-27. One of Calgary's biggest long-term challenges going forward still is Jonathan Huberdeau's contract. He's carrying a $10.5 million cap hit through 2030-2031, making him the highest paid player on a rebuilding roster that could once again find itself in the NHL draft lottery. Moving Huberdeau is going to be extremely difficult without retaining salary or attaching significant assets, and his contract still limits Calgary's flexibility. Connor Zary and Zach Whitecloud have also surfaced in trade rumors. If either player is moved, Calgary could continue reshaping its roster while creating opportunities for younger players management believes can become part of the club's long-term core. More importantly, the Flames really need to support Dustin Wolf. After emerging as one of hockey's top young goalies, Wolf spent last season backstopping a team that couldn't shoot straight, and that's got to weigh on you. Add in the fact that the Saddle Dome is scheduled to close following this season, barring a playoff run that extends its NHL life beyond the regular season finale. It's one of those things where they're in a difficult situation all around. I'm not sure if they'll be able to pull it off.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it'll be an interesting weekend. This weekend will be great. A weekend that maybe can find the Jays cementing a position in the playoffs. News about the Leafs, and it looks like Riley's going to be with the team. He's going to be playing with the team. I think there's an inbuilt good thing for him because he won't be 1 or 1A. He'll be 2A or 2B, and if he's 2A, then he can be a more effective defenseman because the people that he's going to be up against aren't going to be line number 1 or the most dangerous players on the ice. So maybe that'll help him because that's the way depth works, right, Aaron? So maybe he'll look good in that position being a 2A or 2B.
Well, whether he's a 2A or a 2B, it remains to be seen.
And we'll figure it out, right?
Exactly.
All right, thanks for doing this, Aaron.
Thanks, Frank.
He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanishi. Thank you for watching. See you again next time. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the football.